Does it feel like you did nothing to attract this narcissist? Like there was absolutely no reason that you went through the terrible things you went through. People victim blame me all the time, but it's just the internet, so I ignore it. But personally, I was kind of, no one is deserving of abuse, but I was kind of setting myself up to run into narcissist. I was in a very dark place in my life, and I think that is what attracted the narcissist to me. But sometimes very good, loving, kind people get destroyed by these narcissists for no apparent reason. And by what I mean is when you were married to a demon in your past life, it means we all have a genetic imprint. That's a very metaphysical way of saying whatever your ancestors did, because your personality, a lot of the things about you, they come from way back, right? It's why as human beings we share a lot of personality traits. We're all individuals, but that's why there's these certain categories. That's why narcissists exist. A lot of narcissists, they had narcissistic parents, and it's likely that a lot of their ancestors were not the greatest people in the world, just to say it plainly and bluntly. This is a generational curse. This is a generational trauma. The big thing about the human condition is we're just this big combination, amalgamation of all of our past experiences, even including those past experiences from past lives. That's why you have the genetic imprint of people that were born 100, 500 years ago from your family tree. One of the great things I've learned about life and healing its traumas is you aren't, your destiny isn't set in stone. So you have a lot of genetic and social things that have been imprinted on you. But what the spiritual traditions show us is that doesn't have to be your destiny. But just how these spiritual things can be positive, they can also be negative when it's, you've met those people that are that's always down on their luck. Something bad has always happened to them. They feel cursed, right? People can put bad, like kind of like witchcraft on you as well. And there's two ways of seeing this. There's like the scientific rational way of saying, see, like the narcissist, you can categorize the narcissist as a demon because what is a curse? Like cursing, words, spelling, they put a cast a spell on you. You were one person before you met them, but through their actions, through the things they did, a lot of it was, or all of it was a setup to condition you to be trauma bonded. A lot of the things they do are very demonic. When I first started this channel, I was really into the psychology of narcissism, but the thing is, psychology is one way of viewing the human experience. And truly, what has gotten me out of all of the terrible things that life has thrown at me, it's not by psychoanalyzing them. Really, I've been to therapists, and that never really helped me much. If it helps you, that's wonderful. But all the terrible things that happened to me in life, I overcame them by going to the spiritual realm, by going to the spiritual level. Because a quick explanation of the human experience is, and it's not bad. We all live in the four kind of lower realms of. It's just called being human. We seek things. It's like the first. This is where narcissists live. It's called the oral biosurvival circuit, where we seek things out, whether it's like gratification. It's that moving forward and backwards, like away from bad negative things, danger, and moving towards like nourishment and good things. The second like like circuit that people typically are in is like our emotions, like how we respond to the social hierarchy of things, right? That's the next step. That's the next step that the narcissist never really developed. That's why they have poor judgment in social situations. They're very emotionally dysregulated. The third circuit is what I've discussed before, which is like time binding, our sense of time. That's what makes us so powerful as human beings, our ability to predict the future and remember the past and one of the things about spirituality is being able to focus and live in the present, which is what the narcissist takes away from you. They get you stuck in the past. They get you anxious about the future. They rob you of your present, which is why, people have a huge aversion to meditation. And there's all sorts of spiritual paths. But if you would just, everyone, like, it's one of those things like, oh, I got to eat now. I got to do the laundry. I got to meditate. It's a chore. But it's anything in life that's worth it is difficult. But if you just sat for 15 minutes in the morning to meditate, and I have videos on how to do it, free courses. Some of my other videos, I'll try to link them in the description. Just 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night, and you'll notice how you think, like, well, I'm just sitting there breathing in and out with my eyes closed. How could that be helpful? But if you do that for like a week or two, you'll start to notice that you're more present. The things in your life don't affect you. You've gained a lot of freedom and control of your life. And that's because after this third time binding circuit, you move on to the fourth circuit, which is our morals, our sexuality, right? That's like when you hit puberty, when people tell you this is right or wrong. That's kind of like that's like our social imprinting. And when you meditate, you move on to that fifth circuit, the neurosomatic circuit. It's a look up the eighth circuit model of consciousness. This theory of mind has got me out of, a lot of life's problems. And again, it's just another way of viewing the world. But a lot of these spiritual concepts, if you go back far enough, they can go very far, but a lot of even like psychoanalysis, which is like people try to explain the narcissist through psychoanalysis, but it's like a pseudoscience. It's a faulty way of seeing the world. If you go back far enough, the psychoanalysts, they got a lot of their stuff from the Buddha, because that wasn't really religion. He really just sat down. He was more of a scientist, honestly. He sat down and just tried to figure out the human body. Because what are those four, realms of that people live in, those four circuits that people live in that I just explained? That all has to do with the body. Because to achieve, freedom from the narcissist, to achieve these higher levels of spirituality, you have to understand how your body works. That is a tool that's going to take you to that fifth circuit, where that's like when you meditate, when you have these kind of ecstatic spiritual experiences. That's what spirituality is. It takes you to that higher plane. People do it through like astral projection, prayer. But what that does is those higher planes of existence, the spiritual planes, they allow you to kind of re-imprint, change those lower parts, lower parts of yourself. But this truly is the demon-haunted world, everyone. As the world gets more materialistic, they're really living on that, that first circuit that I explained. It's a very narcissistic circuit. It's a very me, I need this, plane of existence. We all have it, right? When we have selfish moments, when we're thinking about ourselves, which is okay. It's all part of the human experience. But the narcissist is the way they are because of the karmic things that happen to them in this life, their traumas, and the things that happen to them in their past lives. And the reason you met them is because the things you did in this life or the things your ancestors did in a past life. And through the circuits that I've shown you, it's why when you try to psychoanalyze, which is a lot of the third circuit, like I explained, is like the time binding, the rationality part of ourselves, our linguistic ability. When you try to rationalize the irrational, you can never make sense of it. Psychologists can't talk narcissists out of who they are. They're almost they can't help them through psychotherapy. What does that mean? That means the narcissist never developed those other planes of human, they fake them because they got stuck on that lower circuit. They have to fake the rest of it. And, I'm not even going to begin with the higher circuits, what people would call God consciousness, the soul. That's why they feel soulless. That's why they can't reach those planes, but you can. When you reach those higher planes, I used to believe that, it's good to read, psychoanalyze them to understand them on that level. But that's not going to get you out of it. You're going to get out of this stronghold this person has put on you. Even though narcissists can't go to those spiritual higher levels, it's an even lower demonic realm. But if you look at the lore of what demons are, demons and narcissists do a lot of the same stuff, as terrible as it is. What do a lot of demons do? And this is true when you read, the grimoires, like these very esoteric occult books that I've read in. I know all this stuff. I know what evil is because I've been there. I've done some, dabbled in like the wrong things. I was just always been very open minded and curious, and I got what I deserved. I ran into a lot of bad things. But the point being that, why do demons try to enter other people? Why would one person want to be another, when you have, like, when you're jealous or envious of others, and you're like, I want to be him or her. It's because you believe what you are is weaker or less good than that thing. So what does that say about demons? It means that when a demon is trying to control you and possess you and kind of is envious of you, that means you're better than it. A human incarnation is very precious. It's better than being on this very demonic, low vibration type of energy. And then from there, it'd be like angels and God, which is a whole another topic. But I think at the same time, calling narcissist demons, I think it makes it harder when people, and they're a demon now, what are you going to do? When it's a lot easier if they were just, childhood trauma, it's a lot easier to fix yourself, because whether you want to psychoanalyze it, whether you want to call them a demon, the truth is they only reached you on your human levels. It hurt, the betrayal from the narcissist hurts so bad because they faked that intimacy. They faked all those things that we thought we had, the comfort, the real relationship. They couldn't reach those godly spiritual planes of you. They can't hurt you there because they don't even have the capacity to go there. They hurt you on this very human level, and I think that's good, because if someone was capable of doing you harm on such a spiritual level, that would be very hard to fix. But it's going to be hard to fix still. It's still traumatizing, but it's a bodily fix. But how you overcome the things of the body is, because you can be a spiritual person, is you reach those higher realms. Whether you want to ask God, whether you want to meditate, that's how you get past what the narcissist did to you. Because the truth is, the situation is, they can only reach you on those lower levels. It is like a really ungodly soul tie, but when you call it a soul tie, when you give them that gives them more power than they actually have. Sure, demons, that demonic energy can manifest itself in those spiritual planes at times, but they don't belong there. Little bits of light gets rid of a lot of darkness. Demons fear the name of God, just the name. There's a lot of spiritual meaning behind that. The narcissist doesn't have that capacity. That's why you can heal yourself. You can get better and move on from this awful person. But if you notice, narcissists don't really ever get better because they're always operating in those lower realms, right? But true happiness, as we all know, or hopefully know, it comes from within. It comes from the people we love. It comes from deeper meaning, spiritual things, and not from buying that new car, not from stealing money from people, not from being out, not from these narcissistic low vibration things. That's how you break this trauma bond. That's how you get out of this horrific situation the narcissist put you in, this curse, this spell. Go to those higher spiritual planes, and you'll be able to access these lower planes that the narcissist affected you on. You'll be able to overcome them. Life is a very, like I said, human incarnation is a very precious thing, and our life can be very short, and it's too short to spend with narcissists.